Hey guys, I think this will be a pretty quick session here for our crash course in Logic Pro 10. We're just going to take a look at the tools, so meaning when your mouse is on the screen, what kind of function is it going to serve. Right here in the center, you can find the place to change your primary and secondary tools. So on the left, if I just click, it'll show me the list of what is going to be accessible if I have it on my left click. So I can change it to a scissors tool and I can cut away. I'm going to do a Command Z to undo that. Scissors. Let me talk through all of them. So pointer tool is your main tool. Pencil tool I typically use with automation. We haven't talked about that, so that's not very helpful. It also can be used to take out audio pops. And if you zoom in really close, you can see the waveforms. You could redraw the waveforms and get rid of pops. Eraser tool, I don't know if I've ever used that in my life. Text tool, I have no idea. Looks like I can type in different areas with that. Scissors tool, I use that a lot, but I'll show you a different way to access that. Glue tool we looked at last time. It enables you to take different regions and to make them into one region. There it goes. Come on. Man, why is it doing this dumb zoom thing? Okay. Command Z to undo that. Glue tool after that. Solo tool, I never use this. I do this a different way. I don't even know how to use this. I couldn't tell you. I just usually use the letter S and set up the S on my keyboard, or use the solo on a track to hear what I want. You can even solo multiple tracks, which isn't a solo, it's a duet, right? But oh well. Wow, I don't like this. The mute tool, I don't usually use it, but it'll mute any regions. And let's see. Zoom tool, I don't usually use that. Fade tool I use. The way this works is if you want it to get quieter at the end of something, you can just drag and it'll kind of do a decrescendo, it'll get it quieter. So super handy. It's a good way to get out of audio regions, so in a subtle way. Those are helpful. Automation select tool, and once we get into automation, this tool will allow you to do things like copy automation. So if this was the verse of a song and you had it get louder and quieter in certain parts, you could select that automation line. Let me hit the letter A. And so here's our automation for volume. And if I had a certain contour for the volume to go up and down throughout it, I could select it and copy it with the automation tool. So I'm going to hit the letter A again, get rid of that. Automation curve tool, I don't know. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what that does. I guess I've never had it. I think what it does is it creates natural curves. If instead of you trying to draw a curved line of automation, if you know exactly what type of scientific curve you want, you could dial it in. The Marquee tool can be helpful. It's kind of like a selector tool. It looks like this. So you could select audio, you could delete, you could select audio and mute. I often use it just to isolate certain portions. So if I wanted this part, just a couple of these notes, I would select them, hit M twice. I guess that's a custom keyboard thing I set up, and you can look in the past videos and see how I set up a custom shortcut. Then once it's selected, I can copy it or whatever I wanted to do. So I use the marquee to isolate things like that. After that, flex tool, you can use it for timing adjustments. And that's another tool that I don't really use that much. I usually just cut things and drag them around and stretch them and shrink them. Let me show you how we stretch and shrink things. So let me get our regular pointer tool. I would do this if, let's say, all three of these were backing vocal parts and we wanted them to match perfectly. And let's see if we can zoom in and find a problem. Okay, so see in this bottom one, it goes longer and this guy's shorter. I would want to line it up. So let me get a secondary tool. The secondary tool is accessed by holding down Command. So let's get scissors as a secondary tool. Hold down Command, and there's our scissors. So let's clip on both sides. Release Command, we get back to our regular tool. I can drag it and kind of line up the beginning. And if I wanted to stretch it out, this is our regular trim tool, and that's not really going to help us here. In order to stretch it, I hold down Option, and it turns the icon to look like that. And then I can stretch it out like this. Doesn't change the pitch, just changes how long it's held. So you can stretch it or shrink it either way, just holding Option. So that's pretty handy. Let me show you my recommended setup. Go under Logic Pro to Preferences, to General, and this first, oh, that's not the right one. Editing. There we go. Right mouse button. I prefer to have this on is assignable to a tool. When I release this, watch up above next to these tool assignment. Watch this. 1, 2, 3, go. So now we have a third tool that's quickly accessible with my right click. Let's have it be scissors. So yeah, I like that. And let's have this one, this middle one that I get with a command click, I typically do as marquee, but every once in a while I might have it be the fade tool. Those are the main two that I use. And then once in a blue moon I'll have it be the glue tool, just depending on what I'm doing in the session. I like the Marquee Tool, and I thought I could replace it for scissors, because if I hit Command now with the Marquee Tool, if I just click and then hit the Delete key, it's essentially scissors. See what I mean? So I thought about getting rid of this and having it be the glue tool so that I could select things. Oh boy, I don't usually do things this way. So I could select things and then right click and glue them together. So my suggested setup would be something like this. Just because I'm a person of habit, I know that I have the scissors as a right click, so I need that. So now I just right click and it cuts wherever I right click. If you don't have a right click mouse, I guess this is a moot point. Then my control click brings up my Marquee Tool, and we can make that whatever we want depending on our function. Really tempting for me to make it the fade tool because I like having access to that. So I might try doing that in the future, but this is kind of the setup I've practiced with. All right, the final thing I want to show you is how to quantize audio. Now here's a clap that I did. Let's solo this track, and we're going to turn on the metronome. I could use the mouse, but just hit the letter K. Avoid our mouse. The mouse is a sign of weakness. Let's hit our space bar, and you can hear my timing, how bad it is. Let's see. Oh, that's awful. I did this I did it visually. So I think if I right click here and drag here, that'll be a lot closer. Things are still way off. If you see, things are still pretty far off. Let's select this. We can get quick access to our tools. If you hit the letter T, I change it for me to be escape. It brings up this tool palette, and we can memorize the numbers. So for you, if you hit the letter T and then quickly hit the number 6, it would give you the glue stick. And that's what we want here. Oh, I did it wrong. I missed it. There it is. So these two are highlighted. If I click on it, it says, oh, I want to create a new audio file. Yes. So there's my new area. It's still offbeat, so here's what it sounds like. You know, I just discovered something. Oh, it's not doing it. Oh boy, this is what I get for trying to do something on the fly. Oh well, disregard. We are talking about quantizing audio. If this was more offbeat, or if we wanted to correct this, what we can do is go to our inspector, so the letter I, make sure we click on this track. Sometimes this track will be selected, but this audio will be selected, and it's this. We can accidentally think we're doing something to this, but we're actually doing something to another track. So make sure both the track and the audio are selected. Let's get back to our main pointer tool. And then what we need is this flex mode to be on. Since this is a clap, we're going to change it to rhythmic. I release, and it does some analysis. Let me zoom in a little bit and watch what will happen. Now we have the option to quantize audio. So let's go ahead and select eighth note and watch these things move. 1, 2, 3, go. So you saw them snap. And just like when we were quantizing MIDI, we can go to our drop-down menu and we can choose quantize strength. So if we want to leave some of the human element in there, we can. But for the sake of the exercise, let's quantize 100%. So you can see like all of them are exactly on the beat. All right. Well, that's all we got for this time. Hope you have a better understanding of the tools, and now you have my recommended setup for the tools here. If you set it up this way, you can still do right mouse click functions in here by holding Control and then just click, and it brings the drop down menus, because you forfeited your right click is now a tool. So in order to do right clicks on regions and other things, now you have to hold down Control, and then that'll give you, how come it's not working? There we go. There's all kinds of stuff that pops up. All right, that's all we got for this time, guys. Go and make some awesome music, and we'll see you next time.